Hey, what's up, everybody? So this should be my final video of the day. If you haven't seen my Packers draft grade video, I just put that out on my channel, so feel free to check that out. I also have every breakdown of every player drafted by the Packers on my channel as well, if you would like to get more information on all of those players. But I want to go over now the Packers undrafted free agents that have now been signed. This may not be the end. This is just what there is so far. And so far, from what I've seen, there's been about 9 players signed. So I want to go through each of these guys and share a little bit of information. First off, Tom Silverstein reported that safety Jonathan Baldwin from UNLV is being signed as a UDFA, 6 foot, 190 pounds, 4.540. I was watching a few highlights of him. There's not much information out there, like a draft profile, but he's pretty fast. He can blitz. I saw him do that a few times. Seems to have solid ball skills. And looking at some of his stats from 2024, he had a total of 40 solo tackles, 68 combined. And then he had, 3 interceptions, 11 passes defended. Then we have running back Amar Johnson, South Dakota State. This was shared by SDSU Football. He's 5'10", 205 pounds, runs a 4.3940. And here's a little information from himself describing the type of back he is from an article by Justin Mello on the Draft Network. And Mello asks him, how would you describe your identity as a running back? Are you an athlete in space or a power guy up the middle? Amar Johnson says, I would describe myself as a do-it-all back. I can run outside and inside zone. I can run counter. My tape definitely highlights that throughout 4 years at South Dakota State. I can get down and dirty in the trenches if I need to. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, those money downs where we need to convert, I feel good in those situations. I ultimately feel like I move very well in space, though. Where I make defenders miss, I can run between the tackles as well. One of my greatest assets is my ability to stretch defenses in space. That allows me to make plays with the ball in my hands. It all depends on the play calls. I would say I'm an athlete in space, but I can also run up the middle. I'm not a one-trick pony. I can do multiple things. My best trait will be my ability to adapt to an NFL scheme. I'm not limiting myself to anything. So the Packers have a ton of running backs on the roster. Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, Emmanuel Wilson. There's a lot of guys here, so it's going to be tough for him to make the roster, but he has been brought into the Packers. Then we have linebacker Jamon Dumis Johnson, Kentucky, shared by Jason Hirschhorn. He's 6'1", 236. Here's from Dane Brugler, his draft guide, The Beast. With his quick trigger downhill, Dumis Johnson sees the field well as a run defender and comes to balance on the move to avoid blockers or make stops. However, he doesn't have the explosiveness to be a true sideline-to-sideline chaser and will be targeted in man coverage by dynamic backs and tight ends. Overall, Dumis Johnson is sound in his run fits and competes with a confident physical edge. Johnson is sound. I read that part. But he will need to prove he won't be a liability in coverage to see significant defensive snaps. He has a skill set of a potential role player and special teamer. So another linebacker here in Green Bay. And for most of these guys, they're going to be depth pieces competing for some of those final roster spots. Maybe some of them end up on the practice squad. Then we have defensive lineman Nazir Stackhouse, Georgia. This is shared from, reported by Matt Zenitz. So Stackhouse is 6'4", 327. He actually got a 5th to 6th round draft grade by Dane Brugler, so seems to be a solid value as an undrafted player. And here's from Brugler's The Beast. A 3-year starter at Georgia, Stackhouse played nose tackle and head coach Kirby Smart's hybrid fronts, lining up primarily over the center. NFL teams quickly became familiar with him after he emerged as a dominant run defender on the Bulldogs' 2022 national title-winning team, even though he was used as more of a pawn in the scheme to take up space. Stackhouse is power-packed and tough to displace in the middle of the line, though he is appropriately named because he probably could stack a house. His shed isn't as impressive. You'd like to see him play more physically against single blocks and bring a little more juice as a backfield disruptor. Overall, Stackhouse is a naturally powerful human who can two-gap, eat up double teams, and make run stops at the line. He will add early down nose tackle depth to an NFL defense. So this is great to see the Packers get another defensive player here, another interior lineman to bolster that room, because I think it's definitely needed. And then we have here offensive lineman JJ, I think you say Lipe, I guess, from Northern Illinois. This was shared by Skylar Kiselis. Lipe is 6'5", 302, and here's a quote or some information from James Jimenez from hustlebelt.com about this guy here. It says, an ultra versatile offensive lineman over 5 seasons of service in DeKalb. Lipe excelled. We'll figure out if that's right in the future when I hear someone else pronounce it properly. Excelled at an all MAC level for NIU. Notched at least 1 appearance at every position along the line for NIU, with the most experience at left guard, though he also had a lot of time at right tackle and also played special teams. Appeared in 52 games, starting 47 times, won first-team All-MAC honors in 2024 after helping pave the way for 1,000-yard rusher Ontario Brown. So never bad to have more offensive line help. Then we have a few more guys here. Delaware defensive back Tyrone Herring, reported by Zach Jacobson. Herring is 6'1", 201, 4.49 40. Wasn't a ton of information out there on him, but here it is from Tim Weaver at SI.com. Herring, 6'2", 195 pounds, might qualify as another, and at the very least, he has some promising traits to build on. After 4 seasons at Dartmouth, where he was all Ivy League 4th team, Herring transferred to Delaware for the 2023 campaign, posting 3 interceptions and 5 pass breakups in 12 games. Then another running back, Georgia Southern running back Jaylen White, reported by Zach Jacobson. He's 6 foot 205, 4.57 40. Not a ton of info out there on him. I watched some highlights. He's a super strong back. He seems quick, has great vision. I mean, seems pretty solid, at least from his highlights. Highlights, typically are pretty great considering they're the best plays. But he looks to have some speed and power. So another guy added there to the room. Then we have Minnesota guard Tyler Cooper, reported by Zach Jacobson, 6'5", 302. And here's Cooper himself describing himself as a lineman with Justin Mello of the Draft Network. Cooper says, "You have to be versatile. I definitely have the ability to move in space. I'm agile. I have terrific lateral quickness. That's definitely one of my strengths. At the end of the day, you also have to be able to line up opposite somebody and dominate them in a phone booth." So another offensive lineman. Then the final one here, we have Brandt Banks, guard from Rice, reported by Kenny Van Doren. I really couldn't find much about him, but he's 6'7", 306 pounds. So a massive guy. The Packers, the theme here today, in the past few days in the draft, and some of these offensive linemen, they've been signing a ton of massive guys, which can never hurt. And then finally, this isn't an official signing, but this guy was invited to the rookie camp. QB Taylor Elgma, who I touched on this channel recently, because I'm pretty sure he had a visit with the Packers. This was reported by Justin Dunk. And so Elgma was the Canadian player in their Canadian college football league, and he won their HEC Crichton Trophy, which is basically the same as like the college football Heisman in America. So clearly he's a talented player, and maybe they bring him in. I did think the Packers would draft a quarterback potentially. And so considering they already brought him in for a visit, maybe he's a guy they decide to bring in to be the 4th quarterback potentially behind Love, Malik Willis, and Sean Clifford. And so that's pretty much that. I shared all the people who reported this, and I got some of that info from Packers Wire. Some of these sites are having keeping track of all the signings. Packers Wire, Acme Packing Company, and then PackersNews.com as well. So shout out to those sites. But that is all. That should be it for today. We'll see if there's some more signings. As I said, if you want to see my draft grade video or you want to see my breakdown on every single player, it's all on my channel. So feel free to click on it, check out all of that. But I appreciate you guys watching this entire weekend, the whole draft. It's been really fun. And I'm excited for the season to get here. I know we still have some time. I'll be out with more videos throughout the off season. But I just want to say I appreciate everyone for subscribing, for tuning in. I'm really thankful for that. So appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next time.